Sage, Game 4 out west did not go how the home team had planned. The Jazz falling to the Spurs, now down 3-1 in the best-of-7 series and headed to San Antonio. In the Eastern Conference Finals, hope still alive for the Cavaliers with Game 4 against the Pistons slated for tonight in Cleveland. For a preview, we bring in ESPN The Magazine's Chris Broussard, who is in Cleveland. And here with us in studio, we welcome back our NBA analyst, 13-year vet Jalen Rose, showing off his Detroit pride. I'm going to start, though, with Chris. It's no offense, Jalen. I share that pride. Game 3, all LeBron, Chris. When you looked at the criticism he got after Game 1 and 2, how much of that was a statement by LeBron?
Oh, it was a big statement. You look at his career, and this is a pattern that he's followed throughout. You know, when he's been criticized harshly, when he's been doubted publicly, he's always used that as fuel to come out and prove his critics wrong. As a rookie, he struggled in the preseason. People said he was overhyped. He's overrated. He goes out, scores 25 points, 9 assists in his first NBA game. Then people said he couldn't hit the game winner, wouldn't take the big shot. He goes out in his first playoff series, hits 2 game winners against the Washington Wizards. And of course, this series, people said he wasn't aggressive enough. Did he have the heart in the final minutes to make the big play? And then he goes out 32 points, 9 rebounds, 9 assists. He definitely made a statement. He's told me personally, look, I know critics will always be out there no matter what I do. Now, I'm not going to be able to please everybody, but he does take pleasure in going out and proving people wrong.
That's part of that winning attitude. And I'll say this, Jalen, you've always been on his side since we've been talking to you during this season at least. How do the Pistons, though, go about taking LeBron out of the equation for Game 4?
You can't stop LeBron. You really can only hope to contain him because he's more than just a scorer. He's a passer, he's a penetrator, he's a three-point shooter, medium range, and he's developing a post game. So really, if you're the Detroit Pistons, you try to contain LeBron, but you keep the other guys quiet. And without Larry Hughes, that's going to be a little bit easier. Yes, Daniel Gibson has been providing shooting, and he's a rookie, but at the same time, Eric Snow's going to get more minutes. Damon Jones going to get more minutes. You got to go to that bench more, and the bench really hasn't been productive throughout this series.
And Chris, talk a little bit more about that bench. Who are the Cavs going to look to make up for Larry Hughes' most likely absence?
Well, there's no question, whether he starts or not, the rookie Daniel Gibson is going to have to be big. They have been very pleased with what he's done so far. This guy does not get rattled. He's very poised in the clutch. We saw him hit the big three-pointers in Game 3. We actually saw him do that against the Nets as well in the closeout Game 6. He said yesterday, look, when it's the fourth quarter and it's crunch time, I'm happy, I'm smiling, I'm having fun. He does not feel pressure, and that is what the Cavaliers need. He's also played good, solid defense on Chauncey Billups. He idolized Billups when he was growing up as a kid. He used to go out in the backyard and work on Chauncey's moves. So he feels like that does give him a little edge because he feels like he knows what Chauncey wants to do. The key is, can he be effective in 30-some-odd minutes like he's been effective in 15 or 23 minutes? He has to be able to do it for almost the whole ball game tonight.
And especially against a Chauncey Billups who struggled in the last game, Jalen. Also, Rip Hamilton struggled. Can Detroit win in Game 4 if these guys continue to struggle?
I think they're going to find a way to get going. You talk about an all-star backcourt. You're talking about Chauncey Billups and Rip Hamilton, guys that really drive the Detroit offense and their precision offense. Chauncey Billups like to play at his place, get the team into the offense while Rip Hamilton comes off single doubles. And to see Chauncey Billups turning the ball over has been uncharacteristic. So I really see Chauncey coming out having a big-time game today. And like you said about Daniel Gibson, I really like what he's brought to the table. But Mr. Big Shot is really going to have a big game today, and I look for Detroit to find a way to win in Cleveland.
It's a team game on Detroit, Chris. Tayshaun Prince has struggled a little bit for the Pistons, too. What are the Cavaliers doing to sort of slow down this Pistons offense?
Well, they're really giving the Pistons a dose of their own medicine. What Detroit usually does, what they did to Chicago and what they're still doing to the Cavaliers, they throw different defensive looks at them. Sometimes it's a zone, a 1-2-2. Sometimes it's a man, a matchup zone. Cleveland's doing the same thing. They feel like Detroit is too good to give them 1 or 2 looks for 48 minutes. So sometimes they're blitzing the pick and roll with Chauncey. Sometimes they're laying back. Sometimes they're picking him up full court. Sometimes they're going zone. They are giving him a different look every few possessions, and that is what has the Pistons a little bit off balance. You keep hearing, well, Detroit hasn't played well. They haven't played their good game yet. But this is 3 games now, so you do have to give the Cleveland defense a little bit of credit for putting Detroit on its heels.
Jalen, who has more pressure now to win Game 4 on them?
Detroit wants tonight's game, especially without Larry Hughes. When you're the Detroit Pistons, you understand you let Game 3 get away. But you feel like Game 4, this is our game. You want this game going back into the Detroit home arena, especially watching how San Antonio took care of business on the road last night. Look for Detroit to come out and have a great game. And Rasheed Wallace has been playing amazing. He's been their most consistent offensive threat, and they still haven't found an answer for him as well.
And so more pressure on Detroit than Cleveland to win at home.
More pressure on Detroit because you allow Cleveland to have life if they win tonight.
Fair enough. Good point. Chris, before we let you go, we've been talking a lot about Kobe Bryant, Jerry West, the situation out with the Lakers. What's the latest that you've heard?
Well, first of all, Kobe Bryant is not going anywhere. He's made it clear he does not want to be traded. He's not demanding a trade. And honestly, if he were asking to be traded, the Lakers still wouldn't trade him. He can't opt out until through 2009, so they will keep him. This issue is about Kobe and Phil Jackson as well, wanting to win now. Their front office has not been able to put the team around Kobe Bryant that can win a championship or contend for a championship within the next couple of years, and they know that Jerry West is a guy who can get that done. Interestingly, the guy that this could affect most is Andrew Bynum, because Kobe Bryant and Phil Jackson, they like Andrew, but they would be willing to trade him if it's going to bring them a Kevin Garnett or Jermaine O'Neal or a player who can get them to a contender status right now. Other parts of the organization are tied to Andrew. They do not want to trade him. So that's where the struggle comes in. Now with Kobe, making a little noise, maybe this will affect how they view Andrew Bynum as their future. We know they could have got Jason Kidd if they were willing to give up Bynum at the trade deadline. So he's the guy that this could really affect the most.
All right. Chris Broussard, thank you from Cleveland. Jalen Rose in studio here. Thank you. We'll see you in San Antonio. Don't forget Game 4, Pistons-Cavs, 8 Eastern time tonight. Still to come here on First Take, is Barry being stingy with Cooperstown? In Fourth Down, Pat and Janelle will weigh in on what Bond should or shouldn't give the Hall of Fame